Welcome to Audacity Works, a podcast inspired by and dedicated to the working artist, the creative entrepreneur, and generally, doing the damn thing. This exists on the premise that the world belongs to those who have the audacity to believe that their lives have value. This is for you. Welcome to Audacity Works. I am your host, Rachel Strickland, and this is episode number 163. And honestly, it is about quitting addictions. Specifically, yeah. See how I didn't want to admit that just then? Okay, the thing I don't want to admit is I started vaping again last June and have been living with it ever since and generally having a grand old time with it. But I have now quit again. What is it Mark Twain says? Quitting smoking is easy. I've done it hundreds of times. And what's more, I have waited a full 3 weeks to tell you this. And I thought today was the day because I got a request from a listener named Rachel. Not me, different Rachel. And she asked me to talk about things like quitting vaping and other things that we just want to do for ourselves, and how to find the line between really harsh discipline and being gentle and loving with ourselves. Well, I'm in a good place to talk about that right now, so here you go, Rachel. This one's for you. And she had brought up this interior monologue that's really familiar to anyone who has tried to create a healthy habit or stop an unhealthy one, which is, if you meant it, you would do better. To which I'm going to reply with this. I saw this floating around on the internet somewhere, and it was a quote that said, the whole, if they wanted to, they would. I don't buy it because I want to, and I don't. It is so relatable. I want to, and I don't. So I don't buy that. Now, I'll be the first to champion a strong desire as necessary for any positive change. And on that note, if you have not yet signed up for 5 days of desire, you can do that in the show notes. These are going to be coming out December 26th through the 30th, the 5 days between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, where time does not exist. I call it the land outside of time because it's just that liminal space where we're all like, I don't know. And since we're in an I don't know liminal space, we may as well rummage around in our rib cages. So this is going to be 5 short audio recordings with tasks that are really fun and quite easy to do. And I'll be sending that out to my mailing list only. So if you want to get in touch with what you actually desire and reconnect with that, this is a gift for you. It's no purchase. This is free. So that is coming at ya in a couple of weeks. But also to that end, even though I do think it is so important to identify real desire, it's a beautiful, wonderful guiding force, but it's not enough by itself to actually enact change. Important to know, but not enough if you want to actually do something about it. So if you've been trying to instill a positive habit for yourself or stop an unhealthy habit for yourself, you can stop that whole self-flagellation around, well, I must not want it enough. You totally do. You totally want it enough. It's not a moral failing on your part. And the answer to the conundrum is not willpower. That's a very finite force. It works fine under positive conditions, but as soon as there's a hiccup in your life, and there's an extra stressor or something comes up that you didn't expect, and now you're stressed out and you're flummoxed, willpower will evaporate like a fart in the wind. So we better have ways to deal with that when it so inevitably happens. So firstly, can we just look at why it's so hard to make changes like this in the first place? We're not really designed to change habits. We've got normalcy bias and your nervous system working together in perfect tandem to make a change of habit really fucking hard. So it sounds obvious, but I'll just say it anyway. Expect the discomfort. Expect the discomfort so that when it happens, you'll be like, there you are. I see you. Been waiting for you. And you can just say it out loud like, I am so uncomfortable right now. Here's the thing. It will pass. Let's take the vape, for example, because I'm right in it. Now, I don't have a choice anymore, which is helpful. I have to quit the vape, and I'll explain why later. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. But we would like to keep it that way. But I knew that setting out, and now I quit the vape with no other form of support and just armed with my flimsy little willpower was a recipe in failure. So, you will want some support. This can just be a friend that you tell about it so that you check in with them every day and be like, guess what? It's day 3, bitch. And they can be like, awesome. I acknowledge that. That is helpful. In my morning pages, every time I write the date at the top of the page, in capital letters, I write day 20, day 21. This morning, I wrote day 22. I'm recording this on Monday, December 8th. And that is helpful. That gives me a little boop boost of dopamine. Like, yeah, bitch, I'm on day 22. By the time this episode is published, it will be day 24. And you can bet your ass I wrote it at the top of my morning pages. More help. If you are removing yourself from a chemical compound like nicotine, I'm on the patch. I am on the patch. And the first week was really dicey because I don't want to admit this, but even at the strongest strength of nicotine patch, I was used to twice that amount of nicotine. So it was dicey. And if I put it on in the morning, and if I forget to put it on in the morning, I notice because I'm like, why am I annoyed? Why am I aggravated for no reason? Oh, because I don't have the patch on. And then I put the patch on. Now, in a couple of weeks, I'm doing the long game here. In a couple of weeks, I'll go down to the next lowest level of patch. I will take all available avenues to help me. And this is important. I'm not going to make any other major changes. My primary goal right now is just to free myself from an addiction to nicotine slowly and sustainably. I think that's one of the problems that human beings have more than anything else, is that we don't want to just change one thing at a time. We want to change all the things. Like, well, it's Monday morning. I am going to run 5 miles. I'm only going to eat vegetables and protein. I'm going to take all my vitamins, drink a gallon of water, go home and cry. I'm not saying it can't be done. Of course it can be done. But it's not likely. It's not sustainable. You can handle a little bit of uncomfort or discomfort from changing something in your life, but changing everything in your life, that's a lot of discomfort. It's going to take 90% of your capacity just to sustain that. So you better have no need to earn a living or do laundry or care for your relationships. So if you can set up this change to be as supportive and sustainable as possible, your chances of getting the change that you want go up dramatically. I'm also a big believer in picking an auspicious day and knowing that that day is coming. I tend to be a very all or nothing kind of person, which is why I know that changing everything doesn't work. So I feel compelled to be like, tomorrow Everything changes. But I know myself, and I know human nature, and I know I have a lot higher likelihood of success if I can see that point drawing closer on the horizon for several weeks before it arrives. And I did choose a Monday, and I chose the Monday after my husband Manflesh's 43rd birthday. Because think about what we're actually after here. It's neuroplasticity, right? And neuroplasticity takes time. We want it now, but we can't have it now. And this is where the self-kindness comes into play, because if you understand that you're actively asking your brain to change, that doesn't happen by white-knuckling through a long period of time in misery. It happens in very small moments. So you can and should be gentle. And what I have noticed is that the moments where it's hard are quite brief. They're very uncomfortable, but they're brief. If I try to avoid them, if I try to distract myself through the discomfort, like, well, I'll put on Netflix, or I don't know, do something else to distract myself, I'm not really giving myself the neuroplasticity, and I'm not benefiting from that moment of discomfort. But if I look that moment in the face and just admit it, like, I am so uncomfortable right now, and take a really deep breath, in a few moments, I know I'm going to feel its grip loosen. But if I'm not paying attention to it, I can't feel the grip loosen. So my advice to you, if you're trying to make a change, is not to distract yourself through the discomfort. Turn your attention to it so that you can feel it when it lets go. Because that moment, then you get your little burst of dopamine and you feel amazing. You're like, I'm so proud of myself. And it's tiny. It's a tiny little moment, but that's how neuroplasticity happens, in tiny moments. Also sleep. If you're not sleeping, it's not going to work. One woman's opinion. I only know that because I know that neuroplasticity happens while we are sleeping. The neural pathways get cemented, can I use that word, in deep rest, or so I have read. And there goes the heater. Anyway, for my particular challenge right now, it has to be all or nothing. If you're trying to establish a new habit, I will remind you that what we're after is progress, not perfection. This is different from removing yourself from an addiction. I guess if I were going to be perfect about it, I wouldn't be on the patch, but I know that doesn't set me up for success. And what I have done in the past 3 weeks is absolutely progress. It's not perfect. I still have nicotine in my system. But perfect, one, it's boring. And also progress is really what I'm after. So, to summarize, progress, not perfection. And also, when the discomfort does arise, don't distract yourself from it. Turn your attention to it. Acknowledge it. Say it out loud. Pay attention. And then you better pay attention to the good feels and the good chemicals that you get once the discomfort passes. Think about going to the gym. Like, the hardest part of going to the gym is going to the gym. Once you're there, you're like, awesome, I'm here. It's that moment where, for me at least, sitting in the car, parked outside the gym, it's cold outside, it's warm in my car. I'd really prefer to go home and take a nap on the couch with my cat. But I also know if I can pay attention to that moment, be like, I am so uncomfortable right now, and then get my ass out of the car and move into the gym, which is warm, I've done the hard part already. Now, it's pretty specific to me, but those moments of discomfort that we are so attuned to try and avoid are quite brief. And frankly, that's what discipline is just being able to pay attention to that moment, acknowledge it, and watch it pass you by. If you want to have discipline, you better know what you want. You better know what that desire is on the other side. So good luck and Godspeed, my friends. I'm going to keep these episodes in December a bit shorter because it is low work December. So thank you, Rachel, for that request. It was really fun to talk about and very timely for me. If you have a request for future episodes, you can reach me always on Instagram at Rachel Strickland Creative or on Patreon at Rachel Strickland Creative. This podcast is powered by Patreon. So extra velvet shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for standing with me. This could not exist without you. So until next time, my friends, progress, not perfection. Pay attention, and don't go back to sleep.